All right, come on in, have a seat. You wanted me to go over your preliminary design calcs for that new vessel, right? Good. Before we even look at your numbers, we need to talk about something fundamental, something that gets a lot of junior designers into a ton of trouble.
I want you to really look at this question. And no, I'm not being dramatic. The answer is a hard yes. A single letter, a tiny G or an A that you might just gloss over on a data sheet, can literally be the difference between a successful project and a crumbled heap of metal out on the pad.
So we're going to make sure that when you walk out of this office, you understand the difference between G for gauge and A for absolute, inside and out. And listen, this isn't some minor technical detail. It's a foundational concept. Getting this wrong is one of the fastest ways to lose all credibility, and more importantly, cost the company a boatload of money. So let's make sure that never happens.
Okay, let's get right into it. The entire confusion, every single mistake I've ever seen related to this, it all boils down to one simple thing: not knowing your starting point. In the world of pressure, there are basically two different zeros, two different starting lines. And if you start your race from the wrong one, you're guaranteed to get the wrong answer. First up, there's the world we're sitting in right now: atmospheric pressure. Think of it as this constant, invisible weight of the entire column of air above us. We don't feel it because we've lived in it our whole lives, but it's there, pressing on everything with about 14.7 pounds of force for every square inch. This is our natural baseline, our home turf. Now, this is what you see every day out on the plant floor: gauge pressure. The best way to think about it is like tearing a scale. Before you weigh something, you put the empty bowl on and you hit tear to zero it out, right? You're telling the scale to ignore the weight of the bowl. A pressure gauge does the exact same thing with the atmosphere. When that needle points to zero, it's not a vacuum. It just means the pressure inside the pipe is the exact same as the pressure outside. It's only measuring the difference. And then there's the big one: absolute pressure. This measurement completely ignores the atmosphere. Its 0 point is a perfect vacuum, the total, complete absence of any pressure. This is the real deal. It's the true total pressure that a system is under. It's the number that the actual laws of physics, like the ideal gas law, really care about. And that's really it. It's that simple. Look at this. Gauge pressure starts its measurement from right here, from the air all around us. Absolute pressure starts its measurement way down at true zero, a perfect vacuum. It's just a different starting point. But trust me, that one little difference is everything when it comes to your calculations. So you're probably thinking, okay, I get it. Two different scales, no big deal. But here's where the trap is set. The industry codes and standards we all live by, like ASME, they have conventions. They use a kind of shorthand. And if you don't know the unwritten rules, those helpful standards can actually lead you right into a mistake.
And here's the formula to switch between them. It is ridiculously simple. Your absolute pressure is just whatever the gauge reads, plus the atmospheric pressure. The mistake isn't in the addition. Anybody can do that. The mistake is in not knowing when you have to do it.
Exactly. The trap isn't the formula. The trap is assuming that the number you see on a data sheet is the number you can just blindly plug into any formula you want. It's assuming that the word pressure means the same thing in every single context. It absolutely does not. And this table lays it all out perfectly. You see a vessel data sheet that says design pressure 10 bar. By industry convention, that means 10 bar gauge. But the second you need to do a real thermodynamic calculation, like using the ideal gas law, PV is equal to nRT, you must use absolute pressure. If you just take that 10 from the data sheet and plug it in, your entire calculation is garbage from the very first step. Now, let's talk about where this simple little mix-up stops being a headache and starts getting truly dangerous. Forgetting to do this conversion on a high-pressure system is a problem, for sure. But when you're designing for a vacuum, this mistake isn't a problem, it's a catastrophe waiting to happen. You're going to see this on a spec sheet: design condition, full vacuum, and the pressure will be listed as -1 bar or maybe -14.7 psig. That negative sign is the single most misleading thing in process engineering. It's basically a lie. I want you to burn this quote into your brain. There is no such thing as negative pressure. Pressure is a force. You can't have a negative force. All that -1 bar means is that the pressure outside the vessel is 1 bar greater than the pressure inside. It means the entire atmosphere is trying to crush your vessel like an empty soda can. So let's just do the math using our golden formula. A gauge pressure of -1 bar plus our atmospheric pressure of about +1 bar equals
0. 0 bar absolute. That is the number physics cares about. That is the number your external pressure calculation must use.
And this slide shows you the two roads you can take. On the left, a designer takes that -1 from the spec sheet and plugs it straight into their formula. The calculation breaks, it spits out an error, or just gives a nonsensical answer. The correct way, on the right, is to convert to absolute first. The real input pressure for the calculation is 0. The difference in the required wall thickness between those two paths is enormous. Let me be perfectly clear. If you make this mistake, you will calculate that the vessel needs to be much, much weaker than it actually does. You will underdesign it, and when that vessel is put into vacuum service, the 14.7 psi of the atmosphere will crush it. And that failure is on you. So, how do we make sure this never, ever happens? You don't rely on memory, you use a checklist. A simple 3-step mental check you run on every single calculation you do that involves pressure. These are my non-negotiables. First, every time you see a pressure value, you stop and ask, is this gauge or absolute? If it doesn't say, you assume it's gauge. That's the industry convention. Second, you check for vacuum conditions. The instant you see a negative pressure or just the word vacuum, a big warning bell has to go off in your head. And third, before you plug any pressure value into a thermodynamic or external pressure formula, you stop and you convert it to absolute. Every single time, no exceptions. Look, this lesson isn't just about G and A. It's about learning to question assumptions. Engineering is filled with conventions and industry shorthand. A good engineer knows the formulas. A great engineer knows which assumptions are baked into those formulas. Your job is to understand the fundamentals so deeply that you never fall into a trap just because that's how we've always done it. Now, let's look at your calcs.